Hello and welcome to yet another episode of What to Pick. I moved out of my old flat, as you can see, and I also went on a long road trip, but I'm finally back so I can make new videos. And let's start with this episode of What to Pick, with the decision between Tharsis and Point Luna. So Point Luna is one of the strongest corps in the game, I think, so let's pick this for now. We don't have any Earth tags in these preludes, but Great Aquifer is nice, and Ecology Experts certainly can be nice. Let's hope for kelp farming here. Algae is okay. No kelp farming, no farming, but algae is also quite good with eco experts. The Point Luna line here would be pretty straightforward, I think. If you pick Point Luna, if you want to play this corp here with this opening hand, I think you pick Great Aquifer, and I'd probably pick Biolab instead of eco experts, because we get some card draw with this, and I would plan to go for Planner with the starting hand, because we have 3 Earth tags here. You don't need to play this media group immediately, because you have 1 Earth tag on the corp already, so you just play sponsors into space hotels, and that draws you 2 more cards. You draw 3 from Biolab, you draw 1 from your corp. It's a lot of card draw. You can also, if you want, place one of the oceans here on the 2 cards, draw 2 more cards, and that should be Planner for free, basically. Definitely want to pick up Algae though, and Insects, 2 amazing cards. Insects, one of the strongest plant producers in the game. And Satellites here, I think. You have 1 tag on Space Hotels, you have 1 tag on your corp. Could think about Toll Station, but that's gambling, more or less. But what you could think about is Water Import. That's also gambling, but with that much card draw and some titanium prod, you maybe draw some Jovian tags that you might want to play. And having a Jovian multiplier, although this is probably the weakest one on hand, is still useful. So you could think about picking this up and even this. But I think what's more important about the starting hand is the Tharsis line. Because there we have quite an interesting decision. I would go with Eco Experts. So we're able to play Algae turn 1, just not that strong. Like, you can't compare it to kelp farming turn 1, but it's still quite nice. You end up with 3 plant prod from just eco experts in the card, and 2 more nice tags. And then it's either dome farming, because that gives you another plant tag for insects and the plant prod, or Great Aquifer, because you can pick up 4 plants with this. The eco impact from both of these preludes is the same. I think I'd go with Great Aquifer. Sadly, we're in 3rd position, so we can't, like in 2nd position, place these on 2 plants, then next gen be 1st and convert immediately with the 4 plants and the plants that we got from producing. But I'd still go with this. Algae media group, insects for sure. You can think about rover construction. Let's pick it for now, and then definitely sponsors as well, because that's just a nice eco card. You can also think about space hotels, because you have 2 Earth tags with media group, but I would hold off on playing this in the 1st gen. So basically, place your 2 oceans here, get 4 plants, place a city here, or even here, if you want to. And then you just hope that you don't get nuked and can convert 2nd gen with 3 plant prod you should have with this setup, and try to rush to 6% oxygen as fast as possible. Play this insects, but again, you could also pick up dome farming, but that means you have 4 plant prod, but you can't convert in the 2nd gen. But you could place your city here, basically. Leaves you with 1 plant, then you produce 4, you have 5 plants in Gen 2, and then in Gen 3, when you're 1st, you have 9 plants and can convert. So that's also an idea. Yeah, I think this is a strong starting hand, either for Point Luna or Tharsis. It's an amazing ground game with Tharsis here. So let's go with the next hand. Alright, the 2nd hand is a decision between Valley Trusts and Saturn Systems. I really like Valley Trust. It's one of my favorite corps because it's just so fun with the 3rd prelude. So let's go with that for now. We have some great preludes here. Business Empire gives you really good production. Supply drop can be really nice. Just amazing starting capital, and if you find a use for the 3 plants, then it's really strong. Okay, restricted area Olympus Conference is amazing, especially for Valley Trust. You get a discount on both of these. And you can try, I mean, we are in last place again, which means it's highly unlikely that we get to place restricted area down here and get the bonus ocean, but if it works, if it's possible, then you can sure do that. I mean, we also have 2 Jovian tags, which would be an idea for Saturn. Interesting. So let's talk about the Valley Trust line first. I'd definitely go with Business Empire, and then I'd probably just pick Supply Drop. Let's calculate this through first. Let's think about Supply Drop. So we go down to 31 with Business Empire. Definitely want these two. Definitely want Imported Nitrogen, just one of the best cards in the game. Late game, it just scores so many points. The rest of these cards isn't amazing, I have to admit. These are all average cards. Like, this is shit. It's only late game if you have a lot of power left over. Great Dam is like so-so. It's good value for the 12 cash, but I mean, you need to wait for 4 oceans with that. Lava Tube Settlement is one of the worst cards, worst cities in the game, and there are no volcanic areas on this map on Hellas. So that means you're not tied down. You could, for example, place it down in the bottom 2 rows for Polar Explorer, because that's one of the milestones here. And you have Restricted and Lava Tube Settlement, but it's only giving you 2 Mega Credit Production. And where are we getting this power prod from? We can't play Great Dam at the start of the game. Noctis Farming is okay, I guess. The plant tech can be really useful. But we don't know yet if we want to go for a ground game strategy. Investor Shipyard is just average. It's hard to say what we want here. We could maybe go with Acquired Space Agency to draw 2 more cards, and Business Empire, because it doesn't really look like we don't need that much starting capital here. We don't want to play a lot of stuff in the first gen. We could go with Vestas Shipyard just because we draw more space tags with the Prelude, and we can use that Titanium prod. I'd go with Olympus Conference, Restricted Area. Could think about Miranda Resort actually, because with the tag on Valley Trust and the tag on Olympus Conference, that's 2 prod, that's not too bad. Definitely pick up this. This costs us 8 plus 9, that's 17. We have 31. 31, that's 14 left. But if we pick ASA, we also have Titanium to play Vesta. I'd probably go with these 5 cards if I wanted to pick Valley Trust. And pick Acquired Space Agency and Business Empire. I mean, if you don't want to draw these cards, you can also go with Mining Operations. This prod is certainly really useful. But let's talk about Saturn systems a bit as well. Definitely go with ASA in hopes to draw more Jovian tags. And Business Empire just really good. You end up with so much money brought with this. And then we definitely pick up Vestas Shipyard. That's really good. Gives you 1 more MC prod than normal. Miranda Resort as well, of course. And Restricted Area Olympus Conference. Amazing cards. Same as Imported Nitrogen. So we have 5 cards already that we want. We could think about picking up Great Dam. Again, it's a solid card in the mid game. When these 4 oceans are down, then it's really good value for these 2 power prod. And then you just draw cards with Restricted Area. I mean, don't need to pick up that many cards if you have continuous card draw on hand already. think it's a fine starting hand. I couldn't really decide here if I want to go for Valley Trust or Saturn Systems. Me personally, I probably would go for Valley Trust just because I like that corp so much. But I think Saturn Systems is completely viable here as well. You have two Jovian tags on your starting hand that are both playable. I mean, Miranda Resort isn't that great for you at the start because with Saturn Systems, you don't have an Earth tag on your corp. You just have the Earth tag on Business Empire. But still, that's okay. Yeah, I think that's a fine starting hand. Let's get to the last hand. And the last hand is a decision between Thorgate and UNMI. Both not amazing corps, but I think UNMI is a bit more fun than Thorgate, so let's go with that for now. Also, Metals Company is a really good prelude. Power generation certainly is also quite useful. Society support is super trash, never pick this. Mohole can be useful if you want to go for a rush strategy. So let's go with these two for now. But honestly, if we pick UNMI, we might as well go for Mohole and power generation, just so we get as much heat prod as possible. It's not the most amazing starting hand, I have to admit. I mean, these two are just great early game production cards. Basically, in no start you go wrong with these two cards. You can just play those and they will pay off over the course of the game. Mangrove is an amazing card. It's highly underrated, I think. I mean, not in top players. Top players know that this card is really, really strong. Because if you think about it, if you place this next to a city and oxygen isn't maxed out already, it's 4 points for 12 cash. That's amazing. Even if it's not next to a city. Also, it has a plan tag, which has so much combo potential. I'd pick up Lichen. We have so much heat prod. This will go online pretty fast. And imported nitrogen is one of the best late game scoring cards if you get a microbe and an animal card. You can think about heat trappers. That's one more power prod, and you can slow someone down with that a lot. And you want to get as much value out of the heat drag as you can if you pick up power generation and Mohole. So I think these 6 would leave us with 22. These two cost 17. It's a shame because we can't play this then. You can just slow play Acquired Company first with your first action, then see if someone plays Heat Prod, and then play Heat Trappers if you want, or play Titanium Mine if nobody else plays Heat Prod. And this basically means we can't use our action first gen because we have no way of increasing TR. Also, not second gen because we won't have 8 heat in the second gen. Because 3 of our heat prod is actually power prod. So we will have 6 heat and 3 power next gen. But the gen afterwards, we basically will have a heat step every gen if we get to play heat trappers as well in gen 2. Yeah, basically we want some more heat prod. If you can get a bit more heat prod in the next draft, that would be amazing. Because then you have a heat step every gen guaranteed and can use your ability. Also, we're on Elysium, so there's... Where can I click on it? No, that's standard projects here. So there's Benefactor in the game. That's an award that you're most likely winning with UNMI. Milestones isn't that great though. I mean, you could also just pick Thorgate because you have more cash with Thorgate. And I mean, we can't use UNMI in the first 2 gens, UNMI's abilities, so it's not that great. We also don't have a lot of power tags on hand, so this is quite useless. We also don't have a power hungry guard, so the starting power production isn't that useful. But well, that's what we have to work with. If we pick Thorgate though, we have 1 power prod, we pick Metals Company, so these 3 prods, and we pick Mohole. So we also have heat prod. That means we have 5 different prods already for generalist. don't only need some plant prod. We have lichen for that. We just need to get to minus 24 degrees, so that's 3 heat steps. We pick up imported nitrogen for sure. You don't need this. You could think about picking up Food Factory, because then you have a use for single plant prod after you picked up Generalist. But you can also just play with that plant prod and hope to get some more plant prod. Definitely pick up Acquire, Titanium Mine for sure. Really good early production cards. We already talked about Mangrove, that's really, really good. Phobos is too expensive, especially for this corp. We have no synergy with it. You could think about Heat Trappers again. And that's basically it. So in this situation, you would just play Acquired Company and Titanium Mine. Then hope that you get some temperature steps in the next draft. Play Lichen and claim Generalist. I think that's basically it on the milestones. From the starting hand at least. I mean, you can draw some more stuff. I guess Acquired Company gives you 3 money prod, and you have 1 from Metals Company and 4 from Food Factory, so that leaves you with 8. So pick up Generalist first, then play Food Factory. You have 8 money prod, and then just need 2 more for Specialist. But that will probably take a while. But still, that's a plan. It's a plan at least. I think I like this line more than the UNMI line, honestly. But it's not a particularly strong starting hand, but you have some options. I think it's okay. Yeah, that's basically it for this episode of What to Pick. I hope you enjoyed it, and definitely let me know in the comments what you would have thought about these starting hands, if you had done anything differently here. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, consider subscribing on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And yeah, see you in the next one. Have a good one.